This week, thanks to the PlayStation State of Play and Saudi Arabia, we're about to talk about too many games.
Hi, I'm Nick. It's my birthday, and I've officially outlived AT&T Wireless.
Hi, I'm Josh, and the winner of the Esport Olympics gets to be on a box of Captain Crunch.
And my name's Yog Sothoth. This is Video Game Tango. Hey, everybody, welcome back.
Oh, yeah, it's quiet.
Look at us go. We're full of burger
Yeah.
and
I'm
birthday.
a little gassy.
Multiple burgers.
Look at this guy.
Making Leslie Nielsen jokes.
This guy got older today.
I'm 900.
Yeah, happy birthday, Nick.
Yep.
Well, hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
The PlayStation State of Play just happened to happen. We did miss it last week as we weren't here last week. So let's go over it briefly. And by briefly, I mean there's a list. So they did show off some more Monster Hunter Wilds. Everybody's looking forward to that. By the time you're listening to this podcast, it will be coming out
Oh.
in like
Fantastic.
a week.
Yeah,
So,
Monster Hunters
a week,
is just
yes.
a game that has missed me.
Me too. I played an early Monster Hunter. I don't remember which. Thank you so much,
Aw,
Lily, for the sub.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it kind of missed me too. I did play an early one. I think it was PS2, maybe 3. But yeah, not a franchise that I stuck with. But I do know that we have some active viewers and listeners
Super popular.
that love the Monster Hunter series. So. And it's a big series. But yeah, coming out a week after this podcast lands, it's going to be coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on February 28th. Then kind of out
Right
of...
around the corner.
Yeah, totally. Kind of out of nowhere, we talked about another ninja game, Ninja Gaiden, just last podcast. We've got another comeback from a ninja game, Shinobi.
Shinobi.
Yeah, so we're getting Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It's still got a while before it comes out. It's slated for August 29th of this year. But it's going to be coming out and this is kind of a trend, to be honest. I'm surprised by how many of these games are coming out for last generation. It's going to be on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So get to look forward to a really cool, stylized Metroidvania that looks like it's got a lot of attention and care put into its animation. Really cool looking game. So Shinobi returns in an all new 2D adventure or action platformer with a unique hand-drawn look created by the team behind the hit brawler Streets of Rage 4. Play as the legendary Shinobi Joe Musashi, master of the ninja arts. After finding your village burned to the ground and your clan turned into stone, you must set off on a quest for vengeance, ready to face an unparalleled evil and avenge your clan.
This is really important. It would make more sense in context if you listen to the pre-podcast, which you can always join us and do if you want. Joe Musashi? Musashi?
Joe Musashi, yes.
Okay.
Shinobi Joe Musashi.
Okay.
Shinobi Joe.
We watched a lot of the original Shinobi for the NES before the
That
podcast.
is not his name.
It
And
is.
We were making fun of the fact that the big character looked like a white guy named Frank from accounting. Apparently, it's not Frank, it's Joe. It's the same
Yeah.
guy. Okay. Well,
God.
kudos to them.
I'm sorry, that sounds like a fucking HR problem.
Yeah,
Shinobi
Joe.
Joe.
Shinobi
Are
Joe,
you
man.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah, dude.
Shinobi Joe is the name you gave to someone in college that you're not sure if they're still alive anymore
Yeah.
because of the crazy antics they got up to.
Yeah, so for those watching that just
yeah,
saw the
here's
really
the original
super well
Shinobi.
animated Shinobi coming out in August. This is the original Shinobi that
I
we're
mean,
showing up on
honestly,
screen now.
this looks pretty good. It's a 2D adventure. Joe looks great out there.
Surprising amount of Spider-Man and dudes with guns.
Yeah.
Children tied up and posters of Madonna.
We gave this game like 20 minutes of commentary about an hour ago.
Yep.
Yeah, like Mystery Science Theater.
But we're just
style.
teasing the audio listeners to come join us before the
Yes.
before the cast. You can find out all the deep cuts.
Yeah, you're
like-
you're only ever gonna get it live.
Joe
Yep,
Shinobi.
that is true.
So yeah, 9-ish p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays is when we record. So be here.
Honestly, there should be like some sort of DLC unlock that you should be able to get if you proved you beat this game. Like before the other game comes out recently.
Totes and goats.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Definitely. Getting back onto the state of play, we've also got Sonic Racing Crossworlds coming out sometime in 2025 for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. That is PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, coming out later this year. Digimon Story Time Stranger. Now,
Time Stranger.
I shared the trailer with you guys over Discord the other day, and man, I was like, "What is this game?"
It was bizarre.
Yeah, when it first started, I was like, "Huh, this seems like deep and dark." And then like 70% into the trailer, it shows that it's a Digimon property, and I'm like, "Yo, what? Okay, well that's weird." And then we had a whole discussion about, like, when's the last time a Digimon game came out? Surprisingly, not that long ago, like 2019, I think it was. No, 2021, I think it was. Yeah. So they're still doing things with Digimon, but this is like AAA quality cutscenes. So I don't know. Maybe Digimon is making its comeback.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
If you ever wanted your Pikachu to evolve into a Galliot Avenger, Digimon is right for you.
For sure.
You ever thought your Pikachu needed a gas-powered engine and a Maudus? Well,
if you ever wanted to have weird sex dreams about cartoon angels, Digimon might be for you.
Yep.
All right. Lost Soul Aside. I don't like the name because it's, Lost. It's Soul Aside. It's not Soul Aside like I thought it was when they were pronouncing
it's
it.
Soul
Aside. Yes, aside from. But
Lost Soul Aside. Okay.
Okay, it's a mouthful.
RPG, a lot of people are looking forward to. I don't know a whole lot about it. Trailer looked great, though. It is coming out May 30th of this year to PS5 and PC. Then we've got WWE 2K25. Cool. Coming out March 7th or 14th, depending on which version you buy. It's coming out for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and that is last generation as well. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC. Then we've got Borderlands 4. Borderlands 4 also says mysteriously, this is according to Google because the Gearbox site doesn't have it updated for the platforms it's coming out. It is September 23rd, 2025, so we do have an official release date.
Bold. That's a bold choice, Cotton.
But it said PlayStation platform and Xbox platform. I do not know if they're doing PS4 and Xbox One. I do not know yet.
I don't see them doing PS4 for a new Borderlands.
I don't either, but I there's still a lot of people that are on last generation, so I don't know. They might be trying to hit that audience. Maybe. We haven't seen a whole lot of like the game, so we don't know necessarily what it looks like in engine yet. So maybe it's going to be on last generation hardware. I'm not sure. But yeah, according to Google, it is.
I feel like that's a really, I don't think that's a good choice to put it out then, because that's slated for when GTA 6 is coming out.
Don't release that month if you're a game dev.
it's supposed to be in autumn. I would give 4 months, 3 to 6 months on either side. I mean, if it comes out before, that's great, but your numbers are going to plummet the moment it comes out.
They also may just be banking on GTA is probably going to get pushed back.
Yeah.
Moving on with more games, we have Split Fiction, which we talked about in a previous episode. It's two sisters, one of which is an author, get sucked inside the author's stories, and you play through their stories. It looks like a really...
Oh, yeah, same as the...
It's from It Takes Two. Developers from It Takes Two. Kind of the same concept. But yeah, it looks super...
Hazelight Studios.
Yeah, looks super interesting. Like, if you like It Takes Two, you're probably gonna like Split Fiction. It looks really entertaining. That's just based on the cutscenes that we've seen, but they are supposed to be in engine and really good story-driven narrative. With two people, so looks really cool. Then we have Directive 8020, which is made by the guys that did Until Dawn. So they do those kind of cinematic horror movies or horror games that are essentially movies. It is effectively The Thing. So it's like virus takes over and starts turning them into crazy, scary body horror monsters. Lots of suspicion amongst the crew and stuff like that. Looks really good based on its trailer. the thing with those like style of games like Until Dawn, and I think it was like the Creek or something like that they recently came out with, those are effectively movie games. Like you're playing out a movie. It's like 70% cutscene, 30% game. And based on what I saw from the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a good one of those.
What's interesting, looking this up, it's actually apparently a part of an anthology called the Dark Pictures Anthology.
Yeah.
So they're making 8 games, with each game inspired by a different horror genre, features 5 main characters whose survival depend on choices made by the player. Each character only appears in one game. And this is like the 6th in that series.
Yeah, they've been making these since the beginning of the PlayStation 4 era.
Man of Medan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a few of those out now, but if you like that kind of game, this seems like it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Or two-brainer based on the body horror. Who knows? We've got another Five Nights at Freddy's game coming out. These games continue to look more and more AAA every release.
Yeah.
The trailer in this
6
game,
nights.
Yeah, the trailer of this game cost more to make than the entire first 6 Five Nights at Freddy's games. So
Probably.
Sure.
yeah, the franchise just doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. That one's going to be coming out on June 13th of this year on PlayStation 5 and PC. There's also the Midnight Walk. We talked about this one.
Now, going for a walk or the cooking device?
Going for a walk? Yes.
Okay.
WALK.
I mean, Midnight Walk sounds like a really cool haunted like eatery game.
Oh,
or something,
yeah, this
you know?
game.
Yeah. So
This gave Josh the
Ooh.
heebie-jeebies.
now, as it turns out, all of this is actually hand done with clay.
Oh, that's
That
awesome.
So
That's
you will be
incredible.
playing
That's
through a
crazy.
game that is hand done with clay. So all of your character animations that you're getting throughout the game were captured in real life with
It takes
clay.
so much work.
Dude, so much. I can only imagine. And the way this game looks, man, the environments that are there, all of this being caught in real life, I can't imagine how much time and effort that took. And I think it really shows because
Yeah.
it does, it's got that.
It's not easy to fake this kind of space.
No, and it's got that Tim Burton aesthetic.
Yeah.
But but in a live game that you're playing,
Yeah.
you get to experience the world in real time, which is super, super cool. So the description on this one is embark upon the Midnight Walk in this reverent dark fantasy adventure built in clay from the minds behind Lost in Random, Fae, and that's F-E, so Fee, and Ghost Giant. Become the Burnt One, befriend a lost lantern creature named Potboy, and use his flame to light your way through a conflicting world of wonder and horror. Survive and outsmart the many monsters eager to devour your little friend's flame as you experience 5 tales of fire and darkness, including an incredible cast of odd characters. Marvel at every disturbing detail in a landscape painstakingly handcrafted in real-life clay and animated in a stop-motion style. Fully playable on both PS5 and in VR with PSVR 2.
Whoa.
That would be a cool game to play in VR.
For real. So we're seeing some of the PSVR trailer right now. That would be super cool. Like
Yeah.
this might be one of the reasons to pick up PSVR. With the hand made clay animations and stuff and being able to experience that, around the dome, dude, that's really compelling.
Honestly, that's not really my style of game, but I almost want to buy it just to reinforce the idea that that's the kind of work and artistry that I want to go into my games.
Yeah.
There's nothing iterative about that. There's nothing AI generated. That's all painstakingly done. I love that idea.
Yeah.
That's
If I had
just
VR, I'd pick it up.
yeah. I mean, that's just crazy. There's nothing about that that's my childhood repackaged back to me for a profit.
For
Like,
sure.
you know what I mean? Maybe a little bit on the Tim Burton-y kind of a
Yeah.
feel or whatever, but that's just that was just that's great. I love that idea. I
Yeah.
love that aesthetic. I love the whole idea of that game.
So moving on, we've got Darwin's Paradox. For those that know,
What even is a bird?
So Darwin's Paradox looks like a pretty cute, fun action-adventure game where you play an octopus.
You fight barnacles?
I don't know. I don't know because not much is known about the game yet.
Okay.
It is set for TBD 2025 release. It is coming out for PS5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch, and PC. There's also Warriors Abyss. I forget everything about this game every time I look through this list. So that comes out in February.
Name.
That came out February 12th, 2025.
Okay.
So that was last week that launched. It was one of those surprise launches.
I mean, when you name your
during
game
the thing.
Fighter Hole.
Yeah.
Oh, Warriors Abyss. This is Dynasty Warriors, the roguelite.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And I've watched a couple people play it, and it is as obtuse and arcane and impenetrable as any Dynasty Warriors game ever is.
Yeah.
Right? You go to learn how the mechanics work, and it's like your triangle circle is equal to 5 firebirds.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. I guess that's good.
Yeah,
right?
well, of course it's good.
And then you're like, I don't know if that worked. And then you go into combat and everything dies. You're like, I guess I'm winning.
Yeah.
And, you load it up. It's like you have 390 characters to play as because we have the entire Dynasty Warriors franchise available. So, not to jump in, but
please,
it's like, if you like Dynasty Warriors at all, or the concept of just fighting thousands of faceless Chinese soldiers as cool Chinese people and what looked like well over hundreds of hours of meta progression, giving it's a Dynasty Warriors game. It's there.
Dope. Yeah, my there's no link in my brain between name and game for that because of the how generic the name is.
Yeah, to cut off Dynasty Warriors and just call it Warriors Abyss, very strange.
Yeah, but I this is like the 5th time I've reviewed this document and made changes to it even, and I forget what the fuck that game is every time I look at this document.
It's sitting at 600 reviews on Steam, but very positive.
That's good.
It's
for having been out less than a week. Yeah,
$5, so not bad.
Right on. Well, hell yeah. Speaking of Dynasty Warriors, here's a name that we haven't heard in some time. Onimusha.
Oh, shit.
They're remastering Onimusha, Samurai's Destiny. So that remaster comes out May 23rd of this year. That's going to be on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC.
Speaking of repackaging our childhood and selling it back to us.
And again, that is PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series. So available to pretty much everybody because it is a remaster of a really old game at this point. Then there is a sequel, Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming to PC, Xbox Series, PS5, and it should be here in 2026. Now, the trailer did look phenomenal. Onimusha was kind of known at the time for pushing the graphics of the boundaries of the graphics on the early PlayStation consoles, and it looks like it's kind of back to do that again.
Very cool.
Yeah, so really cool looking. And if they kind of capture Onimusha the way it used to be with better control scheme, then that's an exciting prospect. So really cool. Also, they had a mention at the bottom of the screen during the trailer showing it was captured on PC, which I think is funny during a PS5 or PlayStation State of Play.
They gotta be honest.
But it also goes to show that we're seeing these games coming out simultaneously on PC and Xbox, which is really nice. There's very few exclusives on this list. Including games that were previously exclusive, like Metal Gear Solid Delta. We saw a little bit more of that. They showed off all of the bosses. Now, none of them were a surprise because this is a remake of Snake Eater. This is Metal Gear Solid instead of 3 Snake Eater. It's Delta Snake Eater. So it is a full faith remake of Snake Eater. It's not just a remaster. That one comes out for PS5.
Can't wait for
Xbox Series and PC.
Metal Gear Solid Kappa.
Well, it also looks like they're going to include the Ape
Escape minigame.
Yeah, the Ape Escape. Yeah, the one that they hid with Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PlayStation. So
Very
it looks like
nice.
that's coming because they did show a little ape at the end of the game there, or at the end of the trailer. So that's fun. And again, Metal Gear Solid, in the same vein as Onimusha, if they can put out Metal Gear Solid 3 just with a better control scheme instead of the tank controls we used to get, that would be incredible. I'm going to play the shit out of that game if that's true.
Have no idea how crazy, how Wild West control schemes were before shit standardized.
Big time.
Yeah.
Going back to the list, we have another game that we did see previously in the last state of play, but we only saw like little snippets of pre-rendered cutscenes. This does look to have more content, and we do have a description of the game as well. This game is called Hell Is Us. If war is the closest we get to hell on Earth, it's because Earth harbors the worst of demons, humankind. In an isolated country ravaged by infighting, discover the secrets of your past and deal with repercussions of a mysterious calamity. Hell Is Us is a third-person action-adventure game that combines intense melee combat with the thrill of exploration. Explore a semi-open world to find answers to your questions and face mysterious creatures all along the journey. So what I have up on screen right now is there's a little bit of gameplay mixed in, peppered in with the pre-rendered cutscenes. There is a gameplay trailer out as well that does show more gameplay. It's like 7 minutes of it. But stylistically, I really like this because it seems very rooted in like
Death
modern
Stranding.
real life. Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
But
this
it also
is very Death Stranding.
it is very Death Stranding. Yeah, that's a good way to put it because it does have like Kojima style looking characters. It seems like it's also got some like anxiety inducing horror moments and like maybe otherworldly like encounters and stuff. Like they show big obelisks and faceless creatures that move weird and stuff like that. I don't know. The game looks pretty compelling to me after having watched the gameplay of it. So I think that's one that I'm going to keep my eyes on.
Yeah.
Especially because it's rooted in like near future war. And on top of that, like all of the like weird artifacts and the otherworldly creatures. I think I like the mix of it.
It's interesting that they worked on Mordheim and Necromunda Warhammer franchise, so they got that dark gloominess down pat.
For sure.
And now they get to make something in their own IP.
Yeah, and it really shows with Mordheim too. Moving on, this is the least exciting announcement of all time for me. Lies of P Overture, the expanded content of Lies of P, hits PlayStation, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC this summer, TBD. Dreams of Another. Speaking of, there is nothing iterative here. Dreams.
Sounds like a Prince song.
You're not wrong. Dreams of Another is really interesting, and I'm gonna be showing the trailer here in just a moment. Bion, the director of Pixel Junk Eden and a multimedia artist, presents his latest artistic endeavor in the form of this life-affirming game set in an ephemeral dream world. Dreams of Another is a third-person exploration action game built around the philosophical theme, no creation without destruction. Rather than destroying objects by shooting, as in traditional shooting games, here your shots materialize and create the world. This unconventional mechanic offers a gameplay experience that challenges the norms of the genre and invites players to a whole new dimension. It's not totally clear to me what this game is about, if there's any real plot or narrative necessarily, but it does seem to have some, because there's like an excessive amount of different set pieces set in maybe different times and maybe set in different worlds. So I'm not sure what exactly is happening here, but the fact that what would normally be something that causes destruction and chaos is bringing the world back together or putting the world back together is an interesting concept to me. And also just the design of the game is also intriguing. I struggle to describe what we're looking at. We're looking at essentially like pixels reforming as you're firing your gun, in like a micro voxel fashion.
I feel like it's propaganda for the NRA, honestly. like it's straight up. It's like, I'm not trying. Like, I know I said something funny there, but like, I'm being real with that analysis.
Yeah.
That just feels like, finally, guns are doing like rebuilding the world. Like,
The dude is using an MP5.
Like it just like.
Hold on, I'm shooting you back to life.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay still.
That's kind of what it feels like. But I may be too cynical to see their dream. I guess
that does feel a bit like cynicism.
No. Honestly, as I was saying, it's like, dude, feels like you're just being
You get to slap clowns in slow mo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice.
It's fun. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on it just because I'm interested to see how this develops and what kind of game it turns out to be. I don't understand how it plays or what it means, but that's interesting, right? That's something different. Moving on, we've got the Days Gone remastered game coming out to PS5. That'll be out in April 25th. We've got Tides of Annihilation coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. That is another RPG that we've seen very little of. Cutscene looked cool, but I can't speak to the game otherwise. We've got Mind's Eye coming out summer of 2025, and then we've got Saros or Saros. I'm not sure how it's pronounced because they didn't pronounce it in the state of play, but Saros. There is nothing known about this game except for the blurb that it comes with and the trailer that accompanies it. Saros is an action game with a haunting story of a lost off-world colony in Carcosa under an ominous eclipse. You play as Aryun Devra, a powerful Soltari enforcer. I don't know what these words are, who will stop at nothing to find who he's looking for. Yeah. Our goal is to create an emotional and powerful character study that explores the cost it takes to create a new future. Aryun is performed by Raul Coley, and that's one of my favorite actors. He was the lead in Midnight Mass, and he also played in The Fall of the House of Usher. Raul is truly bringing Aryun to life in a stunning performance. He's been a brilliant collaborator to tell our story and champion for the game. He's also not alone on Carcosa, and we will reveal more of our fantastic ensemble NPC cast and story information ahead. Trailer's gorgeous. It tells you nothing about the game. Even the blurb is relatively generic. But I do really like Raul Coley. Midnight Mass was a surprise hit. It's a great series on Netflix that I really enjoyed. He's also from Funhouse. He's a serious actor to be taken seriously. But I was exposed to him by Funhouse, and dude is uber talented. Not only in like a serious storytelling, he's an actor to be taken serious kind of manner, but also funny as fuck. And he's also dating Alana Pierce. Dude's got everything every gamer wants. Beyond that, I don't know anything about it, but if he's acting in it and it's going to be like a Strand type game, that's probably going to be pretty cool.
Strand type game.
Then real quick, coming to PlayStation game catalog for PlayStation Plus users, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Tape 1 comes out February 18th. That was yesterday as of our time of recording. Blueprints comes out spring 2025. Abiotic Factor is coming to the PS5 summer of 2025.
That's nice.
Totally.
I love that game.
It's nice to see their success leading to hopefully more success down the road by going to a console. Good game, great game, needs more exposure. Also coming to PlayStation Plus is Armored Core Project Phantasma, and Armored Core Master of Arena. So that's exciting.
The originals. Okay.
Yeah, the OGs. That's awesome. Playable demo of Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is going on right now.
It's going to be a big game.
Yes, it is. There's also the Dave the Diver Like a Dragon mashup that's happening.
Crossover, yeah.
Yeah, so they showed a little bit more of that during the State of Play. And to wrap it up, Splitgate 2 is going into alpha February 27th through the 2nd. So there will be a free alpha testing for Splitgate 2, which again is a free-to-play game. Yeah. And it's going to be available February 27th through March 2nd on PS5, Xbox Series, and of course PC. So if you were into the original Splitgate,
or if you want to bonk people at 900 miles an hour, that's what that game was.
So a week from today, or a week from now, as we're recording this, Splitgate 2 is having their open alpha. So if you like it, you have a chance to get it in on it really early. And that wraps up the PlayStation State of Play for February
State of Play.
2025.
It's a pretty good state.
Yeah, I was,
State could be worse.
for sure. I
Be
was.
worse.
It was cool because there's some fairly inventive games on there. There's some really cool throwbacks too, like franchises that we haven't heard from in a long time. And yeah, not bad. Not bad, especially for what is normally a like big ass AAA showing. They showed a lot more than just AAA games, which is nice. It's a nice breath of fresh air. Not only that, but it's PlayStation State of Play, and as I mentioned, most of these games are coming out multi-platform, at least on PC. There was 2 PS5 exclusives, so that's cool.
Well, I have a game you can play now, a game you could play soon, and a game you'll eventually be able to play. I guess we could do them in that order.
Sure.
A game I had kept my eye on that had dropped into 1.0 back in December, and I finally got around to trying it out, is Battle Shapers. A game that is most easily described as what if Doom was Mega Man. This game is currently 35% off on Steam until the end of the month. It's like $16, and at that price, it is absolutely worth it. If you like Doom, if you like Mega Man, if you like games that make you feel like a badass, this is that game. I have maybe 15, 20 hours in it. It is a roguelite. There is some meta progression. You were doing multiple runs, but you do it in the style of Mega Man. You wake up as this old, I don't know, you were some kind of, not a cop, but like a peacekeeper, and an AI virus has taken over all the robots, the robot people, and you have to go fight the bosses in their levels. And just like Mega Man, you get to choose like which boss you're tackling at the beginning of every stage, which does vary, like which stage and which boss isn't always tied together. It suffers from the first few runs are incredibly slow in the sense that you haven't unlocked a lot of your like Metroidvania powers for exploration and traversal. You haven't unlocked a lot of content. On my third run, I finally did beat a boss though. And shortly thereafter, I completed all 3 bosses, I should say. I don't want to give away too many spoilers. And it's at that point that the game really opens up. There's really no hint to the level of customizability you're going to get access to in your first couple of runs. But once you do it, the game really becomes what, in my opinion, should have been from the start. A game that is extremely high-paced. It rewards aggression. It rewards finding fun combos. And the more you play and you're locking these core meta progression mechanics, it gives you a lot of fine control over how these things work. So if you played a roguelike before, you know in these games you like clear a room and you get a treasure chest and you get a new weapon, right? And you have to compare, is this better than my old one? Well, in this one, at any time, you can choose just to take the like unique feature of that weapon and stick it on the one you already have.
Oh, sick.
So if you find a gun you like, and it's like core mechanics, you can just be like, every time I shoot this gun, there's a chance it gives me haste, or there's a chance the bullets reflect. Like you just steal the abilities from other weapons, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
A nice feature, before every boss, you have a chance of going to a store and spending the money you've earned. And one of the options is just upgrading your gun to the current power level. So if you do find a gun, again, you like, you don't have to worry about it becoming outdated because you're gaining numbers stats, which is really nice. On top of that, the game has kind of an element system. They have some unique ones in there. When you beat the bosses, you get core class features. You get to quick a primary and a secondary. So like you can make a build that's all about double and triple jumping and flying through the air, or one that's all about melee combat. Because there's almost as much melee combat in this as there is shooting, which is a really cool idea that kind of like Doom, when enemies like staggered, you go and punch them and get a lot of bonuses. And what bonuses you get depends on your build, which is pretty neat. Like I said, the game's been out a while. It came out in 1.0, I think, back in December. And at the full price, I don't know if it's going to have enough content unless you really like the game to drop something like $30 on it. I don't know what the full price is. If it's 35% off and $16, it's about $25. But at $16, yeah, it's an absolute steal. Total banger, heavy metal, squeedly meadly music, just like Mega Man. I've loved every bit of it. And even, this far in, once you get a build going and you clear a room or you do something cool, it's one of those games where the immersion is broken because of how cool you feel.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a cool way to break immersion. In between combat rooms, there are parkour rooms or puzzle platformer rooms, which is a nice little change of pace. And one nice thing is your first level, you pick a boss in their particular floor. And once you clear them, whatever bosses and levels you didn't pick get harder.
Okay.
And they gain random upgrades and they show you before you pick. So like even the parkour and puzzle platformer areas get more and more hazards and traps, which is kind of neat.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting more powerful as you progress. Why wouldn't they?
And what's nice about that is it gives you more time to practice stuff like wall running, jumping, double jumping, and like learning how to control your character. Fully remappable controls. One review said it didn't run great on a Steam Deck. That was right after 1.0 release back in December. I know the dev team took a holiday break and they've been back at it. They released 3 hot fixes so far since the 1.0 release. And yeah, I mean, even at $20, even at $25, if you like first-person shooters, if you like Mega Man, you like Doom, it's worth checking out. It's a lot of fun.
Excellent. And two things were, I mean, basically everything you said turns me onto this game. But mentioning the soundtrack, that's so important to feeling like a badass in a game. And feeling like a badass in a game is important to this style of game. And if it nails that, it seems like a gimme.
I'm realizing I didn't really point it out. It's hard. It is like going from Mega Man X to Mega Man X2 hard.
Oh, Jesus.
Like I said, it took me 3 attempts just to beat a boss. And I trade each one. There's 3 bosses, technically more than that, but I don't want to spoil stuff. And a lot of that, I mean, some of it has to do with meta progression and being able to do stuff like, more movement techniques and whatnot. But a lot of it is just learning how the game wants you to play and then, not panicking when shit goes south. One thing this game does suffer from is there is a lot of visual stuff going on. It's got a bit too much visual clutter. And then until you've kind of grokked the mechanics and you're doing them unconsciously, you can get hit out of left field, not know what's going on because you don't know yet everything that's happening. But once you get that down, it's a lot of fun. Lots of little events and side puzzles and quests. And the meta progression rate feels solid. I wouldn't complain about the speed. Like if you manage to beat a run, you get a lot. Like I was able to unlock, I think 6 weapons, 4 new grenades, and 8 core abilities in one amount of meta currency from a full run. If you beat one boss, you get a couple, right? So it varies pretty wildly depending on how well you do. But yeah, it's good. It's a solid B plus A minus game in my mind, and at $16, that's definitely worth it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's probably going to be one that I check out. Yeah, for sure. Well, Josh.
Yeah, the game I'm talking about, it's gonna sell for maybe a little more than $16. I'm actually talking about the possible sale of Niantic to Scopely Games. Now the deal.
Niantic again.
Niantic is of course the maker of the giant Pokemon Go, which, as everybody remembers, was the summer we got outside, and then God punished us for that hubris for the very next summer with COVID. So, anyway, now Pokemon Go is, it's still on my phone. I don't play every day or anything like that anymore, but every once in a while I get a wild hair and I jump in there and I play for 2 weeks pretty actively. So it is still out there, and it's being sold, like I said, to Scopely Games. Now, as long as the deal gets approved, but come on, it's money, and
$3.5 billion.
$3.5 billion, and so a pretty good deal. Now, why I think that this deal is going to go through is because if you just keep following the rope, Scopely Games is actually owned by the investment group Savvy Games, which is owned by Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
Now
they love their video games.
They
over
do.
there.
They do love their video games over there. So I think that this sale probably will wind up going through. Now, Saudi Arabia in recent years has been very much active in the gaming scene. Now, they've been doing it through what is known as their PIF, or the Public Investment Fund. Now, this has invested in some big names like Electronic Arts, Nintendo, Nexon, and Capcom. So definitely, and they've invested upwards of $38 billion into the gaming markets. Saudi Arabia is really kind of looking to put their hat into the ring.
Oh yeah.
Also, they are going to be hosting, the article says here, the inaugural Olympic esports games, which are set to take place now in 2027. So yeah, kind of big happenings there. So I don't really know what that would mean for Pokemon Go, if they would get a revamp or anything like that, but it would be the entire portfolio that Niantic is selling.
Probably not a lot. I don't know that is good news for what's the other game that Niantic made?
Ingress.
Ingress. Yeah, I don't know if that's good news or not for Ingress, because I feel like that doesn't have much of an audience nowadays. It is essentially the groundwork for Pokemon Go.
Right.
Like the Ingress portals are what we know now as Pokestops, right? So I don't think it probably means good things for Ingress.
Which is ultimately just mapping data.
Well, so is Pokemon Go.
Yeah, that's what they like.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love you, but there's like 90 people playing Ingress anymore.
Yeah. So probably doesn't mean good things for that.
You know. Well, that's what's happening in the business world of video games.
Yes, sir. Nick, you got another couple games for us, eh?
I do. By now, if you are into games, you've probably heard of Elden Ring Night Rain. I have only watched one video on it so far, but it is from the one and only VaatiVidya, who, if you know about the Dark Souls universe, you've at least watched one or two of his videos, maybe his lore content. Well-known player. He was able to play it, got flown out and played it for 6 hours. And I think the YouTube video he posted was about 20-30 minutes long, talking about his experience and what he thought. It was an interesting video in that he didn't talk about whether it was good or bad, but he talked about the overwhelming sensation of urgency through the whole game, which is an interesting thing to focus on, which tells me that it must have been a powerful emotion. This is a Battle Royale Dark Souls game. What does that even mean?
Yeah, what?
Well, it's a Battle Royale Elden Ring game, yeah.
Yeah, Elden Ring's a Dark Souls game because I'm old.
Yeah.
So you and two other players, specifically because the game is not designed for you to go solo or duo, according to Vaati, land on an island with possibly procedurally generated, or at least randomly generated locations and bosses, and fight against and race against time to clear out points of interest, gather new weapons, spend consumables and upgrade materials before the night falls and the ring closes in so that you can fight a boss. There, I believe, were 3 days. I don't know if you watch any of the content.
I know very little about it.
3 days in each game where you fight a total of 3 bosses. And they are all at Elden Ring and Dark Souls level difficulty. What's interesting in the experience he really got is that it really feels like from its core, from the outset, the bosses especially are designed for 3 players to fight at one time, which means the mechanics they use are designed to keep the attention of and test the abilities of 3 people working in concert. It has some really common mechanics that you'd expect from RPGs and Dark Souls-like games, and some more interesting ones, like the more tanky-esque character does a lot of tanking through grappling, not only allies but enemies. The magic character has a fun little kind of resource management thing they have to play and decide on when they want to go big or not. Lots of mobility in the game. And it's out of left field. I don't know. It's the last thing I expected. You know, they've made 3 Dark Souls, a Bloodborne, an Elden Ring game. I'm sure they wanted to break from the formula. So to do something like this, I don't know. Well done. I believe you can attempt to play test it. I heard that some people waiting many multiple hours to try to get into queue to try it out. We all know how big Elden Ring was. But now you can suffer with your friends, right? And you can finally blame somebody other than yourself when you fail to beat the boss 11, 20, 30 times in a row. But yeah, it looked fun. It looked interesting. It looked highly polished for what it was. We all know and love or hate the Dark Souls games. And just the idea of a multiplayer one, it's kind of hard to see where else they would have gone. Like, you know, you can already summon your allies and essentially do co-op Elden Ring and Dark Souls, at least in the later Dark Souls games. So this is a pretty big pivot, and I think they chose well if I had to put my money somewhere this early. So.
Who would have thought, right? Like,
yeah.
But it's such a good idea, and it seems so like it was right there to be grabbed, and they just grabbed it. You know, it's like such a simple concept. But
one thing I might have missed, and I'm trying to think back. In the video, I don't think he mentions PvP.
Yeah, that's what I've been wondering too, is if it has any PvP.
I'm pretty sure, like, I'm tired and old, but like I'm 90% sure none of his talk was about PvP, which tells me that the game might focus on, it's essentially you and 2 of your friends trying to play a heavily timed Elden Ring, right? Where you might be fighting a boss and the ring's closing in and decide that you have to leave. Yeah. Like, we don't have time to kill this guy and get his loot. Otherwise, we're just going to all die, right? And then the last 20, 30, 40 minutes of gameplay is going to be lost, right? So, yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah.
You got one more game to talk about.
I do.
Want to do
Another
that?
one. This was a surprise. I just learned about it, I think it was yesterday or today. I think it's Inkbound. No, I'm getting Shiny Shoe Games, creator of Monster Train and Inkbound, kind of shadow dropped news about Monster Train 2. Monster Train is a card building roguelike deck builder that got mildly overshadowed by Slay the Spire because it didn't release too long after that. That is definitely one of the pillars of the genre. Monster Train was very, very well done. It did a lot of neat things, building off what Slay the Spire was able to do. And I played the hell out of it. And I really liked what I did see of Inkbound. I haven't got a chance to play it. The game is essentially done. I think they've stopped support for it, but check out Inkbound if you're looking for like a really interesting, complex co-op RPG game. But yeah, Monster Train 2 coming out sometime this year. That's as much information as we've got. New clans. If you're not familiar, you are the forces of hell riding the hell train. And in the first game, you were fighting the forces of heaven as they were trying to stop your train. Your map is essentially 3 floors of a carriage of this train, and the enemies come in the bottom floor and slowly work their way to the top to try to destroy the engine of your hell vehicle. And in this one, they've added in a lot of new content and the ability to, in your deck, like add room parts so you can customize the rooms to help your units in certain ways. Cool. Better delineated out artifacts and armor. Lots of time. They've had, I think it's been about 4 or 5 years since first Monster Train to hone in on what Monster Train does well. Because from what I've seen of the demo so far, I haven't had a chance to play it. It is just more Monster Train, which I will not complain about. The game is a hoot. And it's one of those games that once you know what you're doing, you got some progression on your belt, you can, in the right circumstances, get some ridiculous builds going online. And it feels really, really, really fun. Yeah. In this one, apparently Hell and Heaven are teaming up, putting aside the differences to fight eldritch shit. Which is always fun, right?
You gotta team up to keep the old ones out.
Like you can only jump the shark so much to the point where it's like, okay, we all got to work together here. So neat.
Hell yeah, right on. Well, guys, I think that just about does it for this week.
Mm-hmm.
It might.
Yeah. Well, hey, I really want to thank everybody that's been going to the YouTube. Check out youtube.com/@videogametango because we have been growing, boys.
Surgeon.
Like 50% growth since our last podcast.
Oh.
Not
It's like
only
we
that,
shaved.
but it seems like you guys are liking the more recent episodes. Our view duration on our last video was on average 27 and a half minutes.
That's
and if you know
actually-
anything about
that's
view
great.
duration on YouTube, that is like,
That's high.
that's really
That's
fucking
way more
high.
than 3 seconds.
Yeah, and it's an above average viewership as well. So
Don't worry,
Keep
ma'am.
it
I have
up,
above
guys.
average viewership.
I mean, it's only 94 views, right? But
Yeah.
94 people on average watched our video for 27 and a half minutes. So
Hell
thank you
yeah.
guys so much. We just this month, we've gotten an additional 21. And this is after a purge. We went down to like 87 subscribers after a purge. So really excited to see you guys here. Quick tips. Left us a comment on one of our videos. He says, "Keep up the grind, boys." That video was switched to game announcements,
Grinding.
and
Oh,
we
yeah.
will. We enjoy doing what we're doing. So thank you so
keeping
much.
it up
Quick
for-
tips.
Five
it's
years now?
always
Just
nice.
4
It's always
years?
nice to
Just
get a nice
under.
one.
Yeah.
A nice comment. I like that.
Definitely. Yeah, we took a bit of a hiatus during COVID because
Yeah,
we wanted to
COVID.
practice what we preached with COVID. But yeah, I mean, we usually get some pretty good comments. Like our last one, Yog Sothoth knows the gate. Yog Sothoth is the gate. Yog Sothoth is the key and guardian of the gate. Past, present, future are all one in Yog Sothoth. He knows where the old ones broke through of old, and where they shall break through again. He knows they have trod earth's fields, and where they still tread them, and why no one can behold them as they tread.
Yep. That's true.
Yep. Apparently, that's what he thinks of every time he watches our video.
Okay. Eldritch nonsense.
Yep.
Uh-oh.